like and subscribe, and leave a comment below. The Golden God of Mars and the Rise of the Rebel. High on a Martian plateau, a towering factory complex loomed, with its smokestacks belching clouds of steam and smoke. Inside, a figure clad in resplendent golden armor surveyed his domain. His golden hair matched his armor, gleaming under the factory lights. He was known as the Golden God, and he demanded to be recognized as such. "Another battalion completed, my lord," a trembling aide announced, bowing low. The tyrant's piercing gaze fell upon him as he waved dismissively. The aide scurried away, not daring to meet his eyes. In the dusty outskirts of Mars, a ragtag group of rebels huddled in a hidden cave. B.N.Rocker, a tough, no-nonsense leader with a knack for strategy and a sharp sense of humor, stood at the center, rallying her troops. "We've got one shot at this," Kelly declared. "The Golden Tyrant thinks he's a god, but we're going to show everyone. He's nothing but a mortal man." A smattering of nervous laughter rippled through the group, but Kelly's steely gaze silenced them. "Listen up. We hit the factory at dawn. Take out the droids first, then go for the tyrant. He's got to have a weakness. Everyone clear?" As dawn broke, the rebels crept towards the factory, an imposing fortress of steel and concrete, its silhouette a dark blot against the reddish sky. The hum of machinery within was faintly audible, a reminder of the droid army being forged inside. B.N.Rocker motioned for her team to spread out. They moved silently, each member taking their assigned positions around the perimeter of the factory. Kelly's eyes scanned the terrain, alert for any sign of movement. She knew that once they engaged, there would be no turning back. "Remember, no one gets to call themselves a god," Kelly shouted, drawing her blaster. The rebels around her screamed at the sky. As they charged, you could see the pure determination set on their faces. With a quick hand signal, Kelly gave the order. The rebels sprang into action, moving swiftly and silently. They approached the factory gates, with their movements synchronized. Kelly's team was a mix of seasoned fighters and eager volunteers, each one ready to lay down their life for the cause. The first explosion shattered the morning silence, a deafening roar that sent shockwaves through the air. The factory gates were blown off their hinges, with a cloud of smoke and debris billowing outward. Before the dust had even settled, the rebels surged forward, blasters blazing. Explosions rocked the complex as droids were cut down by laser fire. The clang of metal and the cries of battle filled the air, creating a chaotic symphony of war. Kelly led the charge. She moved with a fierce grace, her blaster taking down droids with pinpoint accuracy. Each shot was deliberate, each movement calculated. She had trained for this moment, and now there was no room for error. As the rebels pushed deeper into the factory, they encountered heavy resistance. The droids, though numerous, were no match for the rebels' guerrilla tactics and sheer determination. Kelly's team moved through the corridors with lethal efficiency, taking out droids and securing key positions. "Cover me," Kelly shouted, ducking behind a fallen piece of machinery as a hail of laser fire erupted around her. Her second-in-command, a burly fighter named Sam, laid down suppressing fire, allowing Kelly to advance. They reached a large open area, the heart of the factory. Here, the droids were being assembled, row upon row of metallic soldiers standing ready for activation. Kelly knew they had to destroy the production lines if they were to cripple the tyrant's army. "Plant the charges," she ordered, pointing to the assembly lines. Rebels moved quickly, attaching explosive charges to key points. The droids, sensing the movement, activated and turned towards the intruders. "Here they come," Sam yelled, firing his blaster at the advancing droids. The rebels formed a defensive line, holding their ground as the droids closed in. Kelly fought with everything she had, her movements a blur of motion. She felt the heat of battle as she dodged and weaved, her blaster taking down droid after droid. The air was thick with the smell of burning metal. A droid lunged at Kelly, its metal claws outstretched. She ducked under its swing, coming up behind it to blast its power core. The droid collapsed in a heap of sparking wires and smoking metal. Kelly shared a quick grin with Sam, who was fighting beside her. Looks like this so-called God needs better toys, she quipped. Despite their initial success, the rebels were being pushed back. The droids were relentless, their numbers seemingly endless. Kelly knew they couldn't hold out much longer. Detonate the charges, she shouted, signaling to the explosives team. A series of deafening explosions rocked the factory, sending debris flying in all directions. The assembly lines were destroyed, with the production of droids halted. "We've done it," Sam yelled with a triumphant smile on his face, but Kelly knew the battle was far from over. They still had to confront the tyrant himself. "Regroup," Kelly ordered, rallying her team. "We're not done yet. We take down the tyrant, or this was all for nothing." With renewed determination, the rebels pressed forward, fighting their way through the factory. The droids, though still dangerous, were now disorganized. Kelly could see the central command center up ahead, the final stronghold of the so-called Golden God. "Let's end this," she said. The rebels, bruised and bloodied but unbroken, followed her into the heart of the factory. The battle was far from over, but Kelly knew that together they could bring down the tyrant and free Mars from his grip. Deep within the factory, the Golden God watched the chaos unfold on his monitors. He slammed his fist down, cracking the console. "How dare they defy me?" he roared, striding towards the command center. Kelly and her team fought their way through the corridors, leaving a trail of destroyed droids in their wake. They reached the control room, and Kelly kicked down the door, her blaster aimed at the tyrant. The Golden God activated his personal guard of elite droids. They lunged at the rebels with their metallic limbs slicing through the air. Kelly dodged, with her blaster firing. The rebels fought bravely, but the elite droids were relentless. The tyrant watched with a cruel smile on his lips. "You cannot defeat me. I am immortal." Kelly spotted a weakness in the tyrant's armor, an exposed power conduit at his neck. "Immortal, huh? Let's test that theory," she muttered, charging towards him. With a final, desperate leap, Kelly tackled the tyrant. They grappled, trading blows, but Kelly's determination fueled her strength. She jammed her blaster against the power conduit and fired. The Golden God screamed with disbelief as his armor short-circuited. He fell to his knees with his golden hair singed and his eyes wide with fear. "No, I am a god." Kelly stood over him, victorious. "You're just a man, and now you're a defeated one." The rebels cheered and the factory fell silent. Kelly helped her team up, offering a hand to her second-in-command with a grin. "Guess we proved him wrong. Mars was free." The rebels dismantled the factory, ensuring the droid army could never rise again. Kelly looked out over the Martian landscape, with the sun setting behind the distant hills. "We did it," she said softly. Her second-in-command clapped her on the back. "We sure did. And you know what? I think we might have saved the galaxy." Kelly laughed. "Just another day's work for a bunch of mortal humans." The legend of B.N.Rocker and the rebellion against the Golden God spread across the galaxy, inspiring others to stand up against tyranny. Kelly became a symbol of resistance, proving that even the mightiest can fall. In the end, it wasn't a god who ruled Mars, but the spirit of freedom and the courage of those who refused to bow down. And that, as Kelly always said, was the real power in the galaxy. And the real power lies within the human spirit. This is not goodbye, nor the end. Until the story continues, my friends. B.N.Rocker.